listening to Waves in the Ocean, a conscious living podcast. Like the ocean, we are all part of the collective consciousness, each expressing an individual wave. In this podcast, we give you the tools to live with intention, reconnect with your true essence, and create more abundance in every aspect of your life. We are your hosts, Lauren
and Lauren,
best friends, yogis, magical beings, and ascension guides. Our intention is to share our authentic truth and bring on others living a conscious life to create a ripple effect in this world. Let's go on an amazing journey together.
Welcome, friends. Today we are talking all about this lioness, fairy, pint-sized being who packs a punch, Lauren Ahola, and all her magic.
What an intro. I love that.
Fierce goddess.
What more do you need to know about me after that?
We're going to dig into her story and all the goodness that is her. So why don't we jump right into it? And she made me start the podcast with this today too, which I needed to do because she can't introduce herself. But I don't like doing it.
So it's when you work in a duo, you get used to the things that you prefer to do. Mm-hmm. And both of us are working on doing the things we wouldn't normally do.
Yes. So a message for you to also work on the things you wouldn't normally do. And for me, that's starting things. I'm always like, you go first.
Yeah. And then I turn to you. I'm like, okay, tell us the knowledge. It's perfect.
It is. All right. So let's jump right in, Law. So what is your sun, moon, and rising sign?
I am a Capricorn sun, Virgo rising, and Cancer moon.
Lovely.
So lots of earth, some water in there. And I will say I highly identify with my Cancer moon. So lots of watery emotions in there. Capricorn keeps me more grounded of the two of us. And Virgo rising, healing energy. I like structure lists. It's kind of my go-to of what makes me feel safe and comfortable. And I'm trying to find some balance and get more into my flow of life. So yeah, that's me.
I love it. It's balanced. It's like the Virgo, I'm a Virgo rising as well. And it's honestly the sole purpose of a Virgo rising is to spread your light and heart into the world to help it heal. And that's exactly what you're doing. So you're on the path.
I think we both are.
Yes. And anyone with the watery signs in their sun, moon, or rising is highly emotional, highly intuitive, highly psychic, all of the good things. If you're a Scorpio, you got a little more intensity in there, but all of them involve that energy behind it.
I love that. So something else I'm learning more about is Vedic astrology, and my chart is entirely different.
Exactly.
So it's cool just to compare where yoga is more of the Vedic astrology. And with that, I'm a Sagittarius sun sign, a Leo rising, and still a Cancer moon. So that is me. Mm-hmm. And that's much more fiery.
Yes, for sure. And when we have all the different astrology aspects are all different blueprints, right? But the same essence, it's all the same thing at the same time. So you're pulling energy from all of them it's an art to see where your lessons are, to see where your past personality and your struggles and what's blocking you in this life, and then transcend all of them. So realistically, I know there's a lot of people who love to identify with their astrology charts. They're like, oh, I'm not Aries, I'm a Scorpio.
It's an excuse.
It
gives you an excuse to be like, I'm like, oh, well, I just like structure because I'm a Virgo. Like I need to transcend that.
I'm a Cancer Pisces, so I should just be emotionally erratic.
Right? It's like, but my Chiron's in my Cancer. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not my fault.
Yes. And we can fall into this trap that we identify it with so deeply that it becomes who we are. But the purpose of it is to show you your lessons, show you what you're here to transcend. So realistically, you're supposed to be vibrating out of your astrology chart where your astrology chart doesn't matter anymore. Mm-hmm. Because you're balancing everything. As you go higher and higher in vibration, the astrology doesn't pertain to you because you've transcended all of your lessons in this life.
Because we are.
Exactly.
Just one.
Exactly.
I am that I am.
I am that I am.
So
beautiful. So, Law, let's hear a little bit about your story, your spiritual journey, all of it, whatever tidbits is coming, lining through for you today.
Okay. So where to even begin? I'm going to start with saying all the way back to birth. I was born on Christmas Eve, and I'm going to like to always think that I was a big gift to the earth.
Because hell yeah, you were.
Parents say best Christmas present they ever got. And, I still think they think that, even though they're probably like, well, who is my daughter becoming?
A badass.
Just, I'm here to rock the family a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say I did not think that was always my path, though. I grew up. So as a child, I was the most outgoing little girl I can envision. I love the center of attention. Me and Lauren did dance class together, and I was the star of the show.
I was looking at her. I had no fucking idea what I was doing. I was just trying to stare at her the whole time to figure it out.
I need to find that video.
I know.
But I loved making videos. I was always the center of attention. And I remember in preschool, I also have a very vivid memory that I remember a lot. But I was the most social kid. So I was the only one to move preschool classes the next year, but it turns out that Lauren is in the class that they moved me to. So it all works out. But I remember them saying, like, Lauren's the only one we can move because she can just go with the flow and she likes everybody. Mm-hmm. So with that but as I grew older, I became quieter and quieter. And school, society, just worrying about other people's opinions, trying to be perfect, really and knowing how emotional I was as a kid and how I am now, I learned to shut it all down really quickly. A big part of my story as a child so I'm the oldest, and where you were born really affects how you are in this lifetime. And so in comes my sister, steals my light.
Steals your thunder.
She stole my show.
Kristen, you little shit.
How dare you? It's all about me.
We love you, Kristen.
But no, seriously, Kristen's like my best friend. And the older we get, the closer we become. And I'm really lucky to have her on this path with me. And your family, the people you're closest with, are your biggest lessons. So her being born I was 2.5 years old. She was super sick. And I learned that at that point on, like, I need to be perfect. And I became not one to want to show emotions at all. I bottled it all up, just tried to be, I can do this on my own. I don't need anybody. I don't want my parents to worry about me. And that became the identity that I took on most of my life. And I can see that repeating. And that's the story that I'm working on saying that's no longer my story.
And tell the people why you felt you had to do that.
I saw everyone else around me in so much pain. Mm-hmm. There was so much sadness and pain and sickness. And then my grandmothers were sick at the same time. So just bottling all of that up and feeling it all and taking on everyone's emotions of how scared and sad they were. Mm-hmm. And I felt it was my job to make people happy. So I became the perfect one, the funny one. I loved making people laugh. I thought that was my job to make everybody else happy. And I can even see that in my family. They'd be like, Lauren, do something funny, right? Because it would make them happy. And I will say I am really funny.
She is.
I am.
I can attest
to that. Super quirky and goofy. And that's, if you really, really know me, I don't show that side to everybody because that's also a little bit of a shadow, is I'm so fucking weird.
I feel you on that.
Yes. It's like, are they going to get it? I don't know. It's a very unique sense of humor.
It's the unrelatability.
Yes. So I think that's it. But I spent my entire childhood making videos. My mom would walk around with a camera all day, taping me.
She'd put a nylon over her head and bright red lipstick. And then she would come up to you and be like, Lauren, come on. I'm taking you to Mexico.
So I look at that as my big imagination.
Yeah.
From the start of, used to dress up as a grandma.
At the end
would ride my bike down to the street at the store, just for reactions out of people. But that I have a very big imagination. And I think that's the parts of myself that are always creating in my head and can tell stories and do the weirdest shit.
To be clear on this just wasn't in elementary school. I vividly remember my sisters driving me past your driveway, and you were a grandma at the end of your street. So I don't know how old I was, but my sisters were driving. So
my excuses, I made my little cousins do it with me.
Was 13.
Yeah, I made my little cousins do it with me, so it seemed normal. But yeah, but those are only sides of me that my best friends, my family would see. Because in school, I was very quiet and learned that I was always just wanted to be perfect and worried about what other people would think. And I took on this role of even looking back of all of my friends. I was more like the sidekick there to support them. Mm-hmm. I remember I wanted to make sure they were okay, or like they would be the ones with boyfriends. And I just felt like I was never good enough, and I would just be there to support. And I'd be like the third or fifth wheel all the time. And I look at my life now and I'm like, I am pretty freaking good at being the third or the fifth wheel because that's just who I was. Elementary school, all the things. I was a chubby little kid. I used to live off of chicken fingers, pasta, pizza, Doritos, Mountain Dew, like what little
standard
kid
American diet.
Yeah. So I noticed when I was in 5th grade, I was super short and just chubby. And I was active. I played soccer, but a big part of my story is I remember in 5th grade, the kids in my 5th grade, these 3 boys in my class, they just started laughing and making fun of me and told me I need to go on Jenny Craig. And the other one was like, no, she doesn't. And she needs to go on Slim Fast. And they all started laughing. And at that point in time, I just sort of laughed with them and like walked away. But I remember I went home and I cried and I cried and I cried, because at that point was the first time I was really aware, maybe even before that, that my body isn't perfect. And that's the need to be perfect and please people and have people really love me. So after that, I bottled it all up. Never felt like I was good enough. Never felt like a guy would like me if I wasn't super skinny. Mm-hmm. And then went on to high school, played soccer, lost a lot of weight, realized I could control my weight. Mm-hmm. And I had to go see a dietitian because I stopped getting my period. And we all know that means you aren't eating enough. So, but I remember going into her office and right away, I only went to see this woman one time. She told me just to go home and eat a cookie every day. She was like, at lunch, make sure you get a cookie. And I just was in her office and I was like, I love being here. And I was like, I'm going to do that one day. And lo and behold, I did. And that's what I do. But that kind of went on and off for me for multiple years, from high school and then leading into college, going to school for nutrition. I thought, if I'm going to do this job, I need to look perfect. And then I met somebody at the gym that I was going to and thought if I looked perfect, maybe he would love me more. Mm-hmm. And this whole whirlwind of shit led me to weigh as much as I did in college as I did in 5th grade, mm-hmm. which is not. It's not good. It's not good. And going to school for nutrition, right? Like what really got me past that, and it's been a journey, was when I started working. And working, my first job was at the Shattuck Hospital in Jamaica Plain. Coming from little town of Hanson, Massachusetts, the hospital was wild. And I only lasted there a year. I've also only lasted a year at every job I've ever done because I was like, this is fucking bullshit. Like, I don't belong here. I knew nutrition and health was a passion of mine, but anytime, I'm not good at following other people's rules or doing things I think are stupid. So hospital food, all these things, that's not health. And I was always like, what the fuck am I doing? But I go into these patients' rooms and I would, be encourage them to like eat well and take care of themselves. And I felt like a hypocrite because I'm, working out like 2 to 3 hours a day, living on more vodka than food, mm-hmm. because that's what we would do.
That's what we would do.
Yes. Every weekend it would be, do you want to go to yoga? Do you want to go to the gym? Okay. Like maybe I'll eat like a couple bites of something, but don't want to eat a lot because I got to go out and drink. We wouldn't even drink like any mixed drinks because there was too many calories or sugar. I would taste
it. A
green apple, maybe 1 or 2 Skittles, or a sour gummy worm.
Yeah.
And that from ages like 21 to 23, 25, it was rough.
Nightmares. I don't know how many times you got kicked out of places.
Oh my God. So for me, alcohol, you're going through all these things and I would Lauren and I had talked about this before, but we're always very good at what we did.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't really matter. It was like, oh, everyone else is going out. I don't care. But from all the perfectionism in me, alcohol made me feel like, fuck it, I don't care. And I liked that. And I would just drink to a point where literally I would do anything and not care.
Yeah.
And
that's what I feel that alcohol in general, talking to people and clients with this, it's like when you are hiding a part of who you are for so long, like you're subduing your quirkiness, you're repressing you. The alcohol is a time where all the repression goes away and the kind of aspects of yourself comes out. So it feels freeing.
It felt so free. Because like I said, I like being the star of the show. I was on every stage, front row and center on the dance floor, talking to everybody, and it felt like this is like, it made me feel like I could be more me.
Exactly.
And I just kind of like fucking shit up a little bit. Like I got
right there with you.
Wake up and be like, oh, probably shouldn't have done that. Think about it. Maybe being guilt for a little bit, a little shame, and just go and do it again.
Just drink again and be like, all right, I feel better.
Let's just keep going. But I will say, looking back on those times, I mean, there's some darkness in there for sure.
Of course.
But I'm working through healing those lessons because we don't really remember them, all of them. But I know it's stored in me as trauma, and there's certain things that come up and I'm like, whoa, that's a lot.
So many nights I don't remember.
Yeah. I had to like get carried out of places, like losing all my belongings. Like, remember the time I walked out in a coat that was like not my coat, and then I stole people's takeout and was like eating it out of the way.
Eaten takeout. They're leftovers. It's not like their takeout. It was their leftovers.
There's just so many things. Our theme song, me and Lauren used to go in Boston all the time in these tiny little dresses and heels and run through the cobblestones. Fun. We would never fall.
No.
Never fun. We'd just
superpowers.
We would just sing. We'd sing when it was cold. We used to sing pizza and sausage, best friends forever. Pizza and sausage, best friends forever. And it was so fun. And then we'd go out, drink a lot, and then end up at the pizza and sausage stand. Yeah. And that was a successful night. And then I'd go to work and do it all over again. So, yeah. But I think as time goes on, and you really start to get into your health and what matters, it just kind of goes away. Like it didn't really, I will say I probably 25, 26, when I really stopped drinking as much the past, since like 2020.
Yeah.
And
agreed.
Not feeling like I needed it. That's what got me into nutrition. I still love it. I still work with clients one-on-one, and it brings us really relatability to the spiritual path we're on because, everyone's like, what should I eat? All the things. And then it brings me these clients. And then I'm like going right into the soul because there's much more behind this, but it all is important. Mm-hmm. What you become, what you eat, and your consciousness can only go as high as you're healthy. So I love that part of it. And I love that a way that this food is just something we can all connect on. And it's helped me so much. So now I have my own business, which I've been doing for the past 2.5 years now, full time. Yes. And I see clients one-on-one for nutrition, a lot of hormone, gut issues. I do a lot of shadow work because it's always something more, like way more deep behind it. If somebody's coming in with an eating disorder, it's like, okay, when did this first start? What behaviors did you see as a kid? When did you learn not to love yourself and accept yourself as you are? Or if somebody can't lose weight, what is deeper behind that? How many diets have you tried? For your parents pushing, and or did you hide food as a kid? Do you feel shameful? Mm-hmm. Do you have this belief that no matter what I do, I can't lose weight? So it's diving much deeper into that and the energy behind food. I came from such a corporate background of needing to track your macros and your calories. And when I was working in there, that worked for me at the time and I learned a lot. But as I evolve and grow on this path and all the people I work with, nutrition is so much more beyond that. And I'm really passionate about helping people form a deeper relationship with food and looking at food as nutrients and energy, and intuitively listening and asking your body what it needs and what it wants, because that's where true health comes in. And that's where the freedom comes in of not putting your worth on these numbers outside of you.
Exactly. And that's the most important thing. It's like the matrix of the food industry and the diets and the fads and the counting the calories, it keeps you limited. It keeps you restricted all across the board.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps you small, and it keeps you in the pattern of giving your power away. So it's coming back to taking back your power in every aspect of your life.
I love that. And that is something I'm currently working on because I have had this story and fears of wanting to be small. It physically, mentally, I'm only 5 feet tall, maybe 5'1" on a good day.
Extra yoga that day.
Right? Really
stretching,
lengthening out my spine. With that, I've physically wanted to be small, and mentally, it's always felt so much safer for me to not be seen. If I just be quiet and I don't raise my hand, or if I stay in the background and don't say exactly what I mean, I'm going to be safe and nobody's going to say anything to me, or I won't have to deal with other people's opinions. But stepping into these roles and what we're here to do, I know it's not my path, and those fears still come up, and I'm working on pushing through them to just
get right through it.
Say what I mean and not care.
Yeah, and I think that's for a lot of people listening. Everybody has that pattern, whether you think it or not, that you're not supposed to express your truth. Staying small, hiding who you are, and not showing the whole story. I mean, people love showing the good stuff. Look at Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
But all the other stuff that makes you who you are, your biggest lessons and teaching points, we kind of ignore.
Yeah.
So tell us about your spiritual journey.
Spiritual journey. Yeah. So that's more the physical journey. Spiritual journey, I will say for me, started more with my body. After you stayed with me and did your yoga training, I moved to San Diego. I lived there for about 3 years, and Lauren stayed with me to do her yoga teacher training. And I was so jealous. I'm like, why is she doing this? And am I not doing this? So after she left, I signed up for a teacher training myself. And that really just got me more connected with my body. Coming from a background of such vigorous exercise, of working out 2 to 3 hours a day, yoga was the first time that I've really slowed down and taken a break from all of that to truly just listen to what felt good in my body and eat foods that were more on an energetic basis. So with that, the yoga part, and then I'll say my spiritual journey was it hasn't been super long. It's been very fast, but not very long. And really started more, I've always been very faithful. And I used to go to church, like looking for, I have a tattoo faith on me.
So it has been a long time.
Yes. But I always knew there was something so much more, but never really fully aligned with, the CCD and the Catholic Church. We used to go and be like, why are we here?
Sister Agnes, rest in peace. She had her soul contracts with us, but man,
she was
so
horrible.
mean.
She was so mean. She used to tell us to shut up.
Yeah, and like scream, and she was so old.
She was horrible. So I always knew something was up. I was always very in tune and felt things, and just would go to church on my own looking for different answers, but never really felt like home to me. And then coming into the spiritual path more, 2020, everything shut down, and I just started to realize, like, what the fuck am I doing here? And it hit me super fast. Even just being friends with Lauren, spending a lot of time with Lauren, right? Back and forth. And I will say, we just did an episode about plant medicine. Plant medicine really, really shifted me super quick. Getting into crystals and readings, and it really challenged my ego.
Yes. In a good way.
Yes. Thinking, even though I was saying my eating disorder behaviors and, wanting to be perfect, I thought I was going to be a celebrity nutritionist, all the things. Thinking that was my path, the more I started to go on this path, I was like, I am so wrong. I thought I was supposed to be like, this perfect image of something, married with kids, perfect job, like pleasing everyone around me. And it really started to rock my world when I started to get into shadow work. Shadow work was probably the biggest turning point for me. I hired a coach. I did this course to be magnetic, then all the plant medicine and all the breath works, and then lead me to ayahuasca, and I haven't been the same since.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very sensitive to things. And I think one of the hardest things for me has been realizing how many emotions I do have, because I bottled them up at such a young age because I learned it wasn't safe to feel. Before I got on the spiritual path, I really only knew the emotions of busy and happy.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was happy. I sometimes would get like a little sad or just frustrated, but just would push through it and go work out and be like, okay, I'm good. I never would talk to people about things. If I had emotions, I was always scared to express them or didn't feel like they were worthy of expression, like that my needs didn't matter. So since I've been getting into that, I guess I didn't really have a choice, but going into all of that, I've been dealing with every emotion that I've ever had since a kid. And it can be a roller coaster of a ride.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, yeah, the plant medicine that really, really just skyrocketed me to the next level. And now I use it more so like bigger mushroom doses, maybe once or twice a year if we go on a big retreat. But I'm at a place where I don't need it as much and it's not calling to me as much. But yeah, if you want to go get your like brain skyrocketed, go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
So
plant medicine will do that for you. It opens up the neural pathways really quickly in a fast way because you're taking something else rather than for a meditation space to bring that to you. You would have to be a practiced meditator to get into those deep states. And that can take years, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So breath work or plant medicines, guaranteed plant medicines, hit those altered states of consciousness where you see reality and the truth and neural pathways open up and all of that good stuff. But it is, in the beginning when you're in it, you're like, I want to do this all the time. Then that generally that you phase out of it because it's worked its magic for you. You know, it's had its piece. And then maybe, who knows, a couple of years later, you got back in and you never know where the world's going to take you.
Never thought I'd be here.
Right?
But yeah, so I will say the spiritual journey started like super exciting for me at first. It was, I'm going to do every reading. I'm going to get every crystal. I did anything you could think of. Astrology, human design, Akashic records, psychics, past life regressions, all of it. And it was so fun. And then I've been seeing just all the signs around me. And I was like, life is amazing and it's beautiful. And like, I'm spiritual and I'm happy. And then in comes like the truth, because that's how, you know, I always like to say we're tricked into the path. Because once you put the glasses on, you can't take them off. And in order to really go on this path, you have to deal with every single part of you and learn to love every single part of you. And that's what the ayahuasca showed me, of taking me to like the depths of my soul and all these past horrible lives that I've lived, how much I don't love myself. And it brought me back. Like at first I was okay. You know, I came back, all the things, and it led me into this dark night of the soul, which has gotten a lot better. But I will say there are times when that shit still comes up.
Yeah.
But the last winter, it was just like this deep knowing that I need to trust my body and gain weight and who was going to like me and all the things was just so freaking hard. And then I get through that and I'm like, okay, like I'm good. Like I'm healthy. I'm in a place where like I'm eating and I'm moving and I feel good. And then in comes the next thing, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm really in this phase of coming more into a state of receiving and being and learning that I am enough and worthy and getting past all these old negative thought patterns, because that's the fact of it, is that the manifestation, if you live in a state of negative thoughts, is I have a very overactive brain and can live in my head. So my brain, and you know, for as long, I guess this is how it's always worked, I don't say nice things to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that is hard to witness and to change, but it's a constant practice of the positive affirmations. Delete, delete, delete. I'm awesome.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah. So yeah.
the shedding of the ego stories for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And the ego death is like what you were going through. Explain what an ego death is for people.
So your ego wants to keep you safe in all the things that you thought you would be and hold on tight. And I'm one to want to hold on tight, but your ego is going to tell you all these things like you think that you have to be, or you should be, or that society told you to be. So when you start to face that, really an ego death is coming back to the truth of who you are. And the true soul, your highest self, wants to shine through that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's listening to those soft whispers and the guidance that feels more kind and nurturing, even though it can be so fearful of the what ifs. What if I stop working out? I'm going to get like my brain a bit. I'm going to gain like hundreds of pounds and no one will ever like me.
I'm going to eat all the cookies in Whole Foods.
Oh my God. That was my entity. So I also had an entity this summer, and that was probably the hardest month of my entire life. I was not okay.
Yes.
It's not fearing those things.
No.
But at the time I didn't know. But when you get into these lower vibrations and on the roller coaster, it gives opportunities for these darker energies to attach. Because for me, this entity attached to a part of me that didn't want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
That thinks, what am I doing on earth? Or is this hard? And it was starting to give me all these thoughts of like wanting to hurt myself. And I felt like I couldn't stop. It was like, what if you crash your car into here? And what if you take this knife? And it was really, really scary. I remember Lauren was in Mount Chester and I called her like crying, freaking out. And I was like, I cannot live this way anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It even took me to the point of being in Whole Foods and being like, what if I couldn't stop? And what if I just ate all these cookies at Whole Foods? And Lauren was like, you have to understand how ridiculous this sounds. And I was crying. I was like, I know, but like, what if I did it? And what if I couldn't stop?
And that emotion behind it was real. It's there. And it's like, those were ideas that weren't you. That's a lower vibrational entity, but you needed to experience that as well.
Yes, it's all perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned a lot from that to protect myself, to ground, shield, all the things, and just realize all the things that I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
So yes.
Yeah.
Worked through that one.
It's good. It's like those ego death moments and like the entity moments, they're all happening for us, but it's really uncomfortable when you're going through it.
You feel like your insides are dying.
Yeah. It's like cringy. It's uncomfortable. You're like, I always describe it as like when Bella turns into a vampire and she's shaking all over the place and like screaming. It's that's the sensation I get when I'm like having those, when you're letting go of parts of you that you've so strongly identified with. And that can happen. It doesn't have to be in plant medicine. It can just be like you detaching from something you've identified with your entire life. Like imagine shaving your head. If you're a woman who is obsessed with her hair, imagine shaving your head. It promotes an ego death.
Kristen my sister's a hairdresser, and she calls it the ego cut.
The ego cut, right?
I'm coming in and just being like really like effing up somebody's hair.
Yeah, because imagine like if you're like me, if I go to a hairdresser, they cut half an inch too much. I almost start crying. I'm like, I only want a millimeter. I'm like, you dropped it all off. So it's those feelings of a part of you you're letting go of. And that's why it's called like an ego death, because you're saying goodbye to an identification that you had for so long. And it's hard, but it's so beautiful. And it brings so much more freedom, lightness, opportunity, connection in.
Yeah. Who are you beyond all the things you told yourself you have to be?
Exactly.
And the truth is we're just love and light. A soul here having an experience and doing the things that make us feel good and aligned versus like, I'm an athlete, I'm a runner, I'm a nutritionist, I'm a daughter, I'm a mom, right? These are all the things. You are so much more than all the labels that we put on ourselves. And that's really that's the spiritual journey. Exactly. Is the journey within to come back to the truth. And you don't know what it's going to come up for you, but know that it is all perfect. And it's the lessons that you need to learn.
Exactly. You don't know how good you can feel on the other side of letting go of that ego or that addiction to doing or that addiction to people pleasing, or that addiction to needing to be the best at everything, or that addiction to making a shit ton of money because it makes you feel worthy.
Mm-hmm.
So many different things. So what is your biggest fear, or a fear that you're coming and dealing with now, or something challenging that's coming up for you?
You know, there's a lot of different things I could say here. I will say what's coming up for me now when you ask me this question is fear of rejection.
I'm in your head, dude.
Yeah, it's I don't like putting myself out there. I don't like other people not liking me, and I know that it's okay. But if you like go ask me to put myself out there and be like, so like, are you into me? I want to cringe and die.
Yeah.
I'd rather just not know.
Yeah.
So when I do that, I know that's my biggest learning lessons is to, and even putting myself out there, and, you know, you are always one to do meditations. If I'm one to do it, it's like, what if it doesn't live up to Lauren's meditations and people don't like it as much? And then that will make me just feel rejected. So, and I've tried to dig into this, and I think it's just this like ego wound.
Yeah.
Of wanting everyone to like me.
Mm-hmm.
And then it comes to, if I'm rejected, I'll fail, and this deep down underlying feeling of I'll be alone. But if I don't put myself out there, I'll be alone anyway. So it's this like effed up back and forth.
It's a conundrum.
It's a conundrum.
Friggin' conundrums.
It's a conundrum. But yeah, you knew that, huh?
Yeah. I'm just happy you said the alone things. It's like, yes. All of that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah.
We're going to do some energy work on that whole thing next week.
I can't
remove
wait.
the implants for it.
Yes.
Get it out.
That's just been in me for so long. It's just easier, like, and it feels safer for me to not put myself out there and to not know. In groups, I'm totally fine.
Yeah.
Groups, like, I'll be one to tell you my whole life story. But when it comes to one-on-one and really getting to know people, like individually, to be exactly who I am, I've always been one to shy away and more change for the other person.
Exactly. So what are you going to overcome your fears or things you're working on? What's your process?
I'm trying to do the opposite of what I would normally do.
Love it.
So this is my excuse, right? Lauren's been to call me out on my excuses all the time, but I'm like, we've been busy with yoga teacher training and I'm tired. But that ends soon. So I'm trying to do the things that I don't want to do, that scare me, but also knowing there's an underlying excitement behind it. This is what my soul wants to do. It feels exciting. Like there's pleasure underneath all of that too, even though it's uncomfortable. So I need to go out more.
Yes.
I need to put myself back in society where I'd rather just sit in the yoga studio and like sip cacao and meditate and heal. So fun. Society. I don't even know what's going on out there.
Me
it's
either.
A lot.
It is a lot.
It is a lot. We went out to dinner like this weekend. I was like, this is what people do. This is it.
I don't understand.
And I don't drink a lot anymore, but I want to. I'm like, it'd be fun if I had a few drinks. But I'm like, how do I put myself back out there in society and still have fun in a new way? That
is what we'll figure out.
Mm-hmm.
When we crush the town.
Watch
with
out,
vindication. Fucking shit up soberly.
It's going to be awesome. So watch out for us. Watch out for me.
Dancing.
Yeah, we got to find a good place to dance. Anyone listening to this, if you know any good places to dance and go out, like
vibey, fun,
let us know.
We're on the market.
Yes. So working on that. And I'm also working on doing
by the market, I mean like market for places. Like I have a partner. Lauren is on the market, but let me clarify there.
Right. This isn't like a dating platform. Oh my
God.
Like
what Lauren has to say. Her Instagram is.
That's hilarious. I love it. So, but yeah, I'm also working on doing more of the meditations and the sound healings and stepping into more of my gifts and my confidence to know how awesome I am.
I love that. Got 2 final questions for you. Your most potent nutrition tip for the people. What should they immediately stop, or what should they do more of, or what's all right, I'll give you 3.
Okay. My 3 nutrition tips. Food is medicine.
Love that.
I will say most people don't treat it that way. It's more looked as, there's this many calories in it, or we put all of these really bad labels on foods and have so much guilt behind it, but it's such a way that can be used. Every client I work with, I like to say, this journey is not about what can you lose or what you need to fix. It's a journey back to self-love, and how can you look at food as love and medicine to help you heal on your journey. So that tip, I would say, eat real whole foods that don't have processed shit in them.
Don't eat the bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So things with not a lot of literally no added ingredients. If you can, no added sugars, read labels, do your research, because there's a lot of hidden things out there. If you eat meat, buy organic, like grass-fed, locally grown, lots of fruits and vegetables, and fruit. Eat fruit, right?
So
fruit gets a bad reputation.
I just found out the other day that people are scared of fruit.
Oh.
It's mind-boggling to me.
So many people are scared of fruit.
That's the pandemic.
It is. You don't know how many people I see that are like, I would rather eat crackers and bread than fruit.
What?
Or bananas are bad.
I'm like mind blown. I was like shocked.
Yes.
I'm like, what do you mean?
It's the matrix, people. It's holding you back. Fruit is the highest vibrational food, raises your consciousness. There's so many nutrients and fibers, and you're really missing out if you're not eating it. It helps with your gut microbiome.
You'll be fine, guys. There's weeks that I only eat fruit and I'm fine.
People do full fruit fast, which is a complete spiritual journey on its own. I'm not at a point where I want to do that right now. I might someday, but it's not calling to me right now.
It's easier than you think.
I'm sure it is. Maybe in the summer. But
let's do one in the summer.
In the summer, right, you guys can hold me to that. Yes, I will say, love food, love yourself, eat fruit, and don't eat shit.
Love it. Don't eat the bullshit. That includes don't digest the bullshit words out there. Okay. How are you making your wave in the ocean?
That is a good question. And it's the question of our podcast.
It is.
I will say that my wave is...
It's a hard question.
It totally is a hard question because I feel like I do so many things. But I will say, doing all the work that I'm doing, it's taking me back to sharing that with the world and allowing them to also know it's safe to feel and to express themselves in all the ways of doing things that scare you, of stepping more out of your comfort zone and having more fun. So that, I know that I'm here to help people heal and to help myself most of all. But I think my biggest journey, I guess I'm going to take this question back to myself, because I think our biggest lessons are what we're here to do and help other people do. So I will say one of my biggest lessons in this life is a journey back to self-love, of truly loving and accepting all that I am. So as I do so and go through all the phases, the ups and the downs, I'm really inspired to help other people do the same. Because I know when we all think we're enough and worthy enough and love ourselves enough, we live in those states. And that's how we share that vibration with the world and help everybody else. So I'm here to help people and myself realize and remember that we are enough.
Coming back to the truth. I love it.
We're
not just going to make a wave. We're going to do a tsunami. Watch out, people. We're coming. We got big plans in the future.
So big plans.
So big.
So the universe is challenging us both in multiple ways, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, fantastic. That was beautiful.
Thanks, Law. You did great.
Oh, thank you. You know, it got easier as it went on.
Yeah, you did it. You're a great interviewer.
Appreciate your great, what is interviewee?
Thank you. I will receive that.
I didn't receive mine. See, she just told me I was a great interviewer. I deflected.
Yeah.
By having to give her a compliment.
The way of healing your feminine, practice receiving.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do another podcast on that.
Yes. Just lining them up. All right. That's it for today. We will see you all next time. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. For more information on our classes, events, and retreats, check out our website at yogilawrence.com, linked in the show notes. We love to hear how you are making your own unique wave in the ocean. Connect with us on Instagram at Yogi Lawrence. See you next time.